Hey guys, Lovey Freeman here. Today we're continuing our Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich mod campaign as the new and improved quote-unquote Ottoman Empire. So like last episode, it took a long time. We're only on July 1936, but I was trying to get a read on these different mechanics that they've got going on for this. So we're gonna have to play this pretty looks like more in-depth game over here about stability and resistance. So we'll see how that goes. I was also thinking maybe we better see where our industry and shit is first. So if we're going to have to forfeit areas, okay, there's a broken military factory there. Make sure that we hold on to stuff that's actually worth holding on to. And it looks like most of this land that's going to be blowing up in our face is for the most part barren. And most of our industry... Yeah, it looks like most of our industry is over here. In Anatolia. I guess, is that what this is called, Anatolia? I don't know. So if all the stuff starts getting on fire and revolting, I don't think that'll fuck us up too badly. We'll lose one civilian factory over here, one civilian factory over there, and there's one military factory in Damascus. One civilian factory over here. So it looks like it's not going to screw up our production efficiency too much if this stuff starts catching on fire. So we'll think about that. So last episode we just decided not to ban the yo-yo, so we'll see what that's like. Let's check out some generals. So we've got Omer Foretin Pasha over here. It's the old guard. Got Desert Fox. Some war heroes. A bunch of war heroes actually. Cavalry guy over here with Trickster. Artillery guy. Mustafa Mukviali Pasha, he's an infantry officer with Mountaineer. Engineer, got this guy over here. Fortress Buster, Armor Officer. I guess we don't get Mustafa Kemal actually, so that's unfortunate. We've got a defense guy and an aggressive assaulter. It's Osman Fuad. Interesting. Get our next operative here. I guess we'll go for this guy. He's got actual traits, so it's better than having no trait, I guess. Where's our next? I think there's a high resistance over here. So we'll start trying to root out resistance over there. Poland. Let's see here. Poland. August the 4th. Not sure what his alignment is. Let's add another helmet to our infantry units. Oh geez, and that really put us in the woof. Located in Habaniya, just 55 miles west of Baghdad, named after the infamous Sultan Selim I, the newly created military airport will serve as the center point for Ottoman air operations in Iraq. Adapted from British experiences in the Middle East during the Weltkrieg, the use of air power in peacekeeping and patrolling the vast land has seen a rise over the last few years, with an Iraqi flying corps trained at the Flying Academy in Mosul. Utilizing primarily local pilots, this is another step in the Ottoman program to shape the Iraqis as the dominant military power in the Ottoman Mashriq. Okay. A little bit of air XP. I just got that credit program. Do that. We'll end that. We can start doing our military factories. Land doctrine. Yeah, so probably we want these military factories over here, I'm thinking. So we'll get this and we'll use that to bump our mechanical computing. Seems like a smart plan. Do you want to be sending volunteers anywhere? I'm really kicking myself in the pants for sending those That was real fucking stupid to send them that military mission. Give them 15% attack against us. I'm not sure if it told us it did that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it told us it did that. And I didn't actually get the army experience for it, so I'm a little bit mad about that. Khalid Bagdash takes over the Arab Syndicalist Party. Leaving the nation for the Commune of France in 1930 to avoid persecution by the then ruling OHF administration, Khalid Bagdash has enjoyed education in the French capital itself and can be seen amongst many influential leaders in debates concerning the expansion of syndicalism in the Orient. Now that he has returned, it would surprise no one if he were to push a program similar to that which he encountered in France, but local authorities are not really concerned by his presence, as the lacking of any industrial proletariat in the Arab world makes almost any support for syndicalism impossible. Good luck. I don't know about that one. Like, wasn't there like a Russian revolt or something when they were still a bunch of like serf farmers and shit? Gotta watch out around poor people. Can't be trusted. If we did that, we will balance the budget. Yes, we will balance the budget, won't we? Alright, so seeing as how we kind of fucked up here and gave these guys the Ottoman military mission, I'm thinking maybe we actually would like the Saudis to win this war. Have these guys come in for a bit. No, they won't let us do it. Fuck. Fuck. I thought that would be a pro gamer move. That's bullshit. They won't let us do that. War on the Peninsula. After the Weltkrieg and the victory of our sublime state over the Arab revolt, we asserted our hold over the tribal hinterlands of the peninsula. The Saudis, having fought against the Porte during the early parts of the war, flipped sides near the end and joined in the repression of the Hashemites in the Hejaz. Continuous bickering between our two tributaries over complete control of the peninsula, however, never ceased. And ever since the fall of the British Empire in 1925, the Saudis have built up their strength to deliver the death blow to the Rashid-dominated Northern Federation of Emirs. As both sides pledge full allegiance to the Caliphate and our resources are thinly spread out depleted due to years of war, we have little interest in intervening in their conflict. Tribes in Hejaz, Man, and the House of Al-Saba in Kuwait, however, are less complacent about the situation and have pledged support to the Rashidis to quell the Wahhabist plague once and for all. Ottoman gendarmerie in the region have warned us of large groups of young Arab men setting off on horseback into the desert, armed to the teeth, and they're warning us that we might have issues demobilizing these volunteers should they return, and that the flame of Arab independence may continue within these men. It's not like we can stop them from going anyways. So I guess we're just not allowed to send volunteers to this war, and that's unfortunate. A crisis. So you get some admirals. Like we just have like let's see here. Create a new task force, all submarines. If we can get a subs task force, we'll give that to our subs guy, I guess. We have our main fleet over here. Yes, we can use, I guess this guy is probably our best general, so we'll do that. So we've balanced the budget. So now we can do army stuff. So let's get our research for land doctrine. Jabal Shamar has capitulated. Jabal Shamar. Well, at least the Saudis won, right? So it's good for us. They don't have an attack bonus against our country. Poll Committee publishes report headed by Sir Felix Pole, former chairman of Britain's Great Western Railway. The Poll Committee was tasked last year with investigating possible infrastructural expansion in the MOJ and solve the ever-increasing financial troubles of the Palestinian railways. Also tasked with improving the local stations and the routes between Jerusalem, Jaffa, and Tel Aviv. The committee has now reported that substantial financial investment will be necessary to solve both congestion issues and the connection to the Ottoman Haifa. It suggests the construction of a direct line from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem through Rishon LeZion to a junction with the Jerusalem line at Niana. Furthermore, the report also criticizes the lack of investment in the port of Jaffa, which due to its hazardous rocks form a perilous trip for any ocean-going vessel. Therefore, he has requested a complete rebuilding of the harbor and an extension of the railroad from Jaffa Station into the new harbor zone. Palestine would do better if it realigns itself with the port. Okay. I guess we'll click that option. Maybe that'll do something for us. I don't know. Conflict in Suleymania. The province of Suleymania has always been a point of trouble for the Walis of Mesopotamia. Inhabited by a strong Kurdish majority, many of their sheikhs and agas refused to implement the new reforms to concede authority to Constantiniye and instead hold on strongly to tribal allegiances and Kurdish tradition. Turkoman expansion towards eastern Mesopotamia and the Assyrian exodus and the discovery of oil near Mosul and Kirkuk has upset the delicate balance of the region, with various groups attempting to take control over the territory. Inside of Kurdistan, great rivalry also rules the various tribes involved in a near constant state of internal conflict based on family, language, and sectarian lines. As the Ottoman state has no desires to let one Kurdish group get stronger than the others or let them find a common ground besides the Padishah, this struggle is often encouraged by authorities in Mosul to the detriment of both the Kurds themselves and the remaining Assyrians, and the Turkomans who are often victim of the Kurdish offensives. Their division keeps them docile. Huey Long is president of the USA, okay. Let's start researching that tank. So when does Homeboy's conference start kicking off? Let's do Farouk's reform. So he has to start until so I guess this could only start in January 1938. So we're still going to have a year of build-up. It's still not a whole lot of time, though. Let's go. Let's max out this in civilian factories, and then we'll start building some military ones. And then here we'll get the next concentrated tech. We'll bump our mech computing. How's our production efficiency doing? It's still not quite there yet. Alright, so we'll do the Ottoman army. Let's get ourselves some military factories. And a bonus for infantry weapons, okay. Well, looks like Germany got a new friend in Liberia. I think that'll really swing the balance of favor on the Reichspakt, or balance of power in the Reichspact's favor, you know. How are we doing on our resistance? Well, it is reducing, so that's good. We have some more rifles now, so that's nice. Indochina lost. Of course, whenever you're not playing Germany, Indochina loses, don't they? The Empire celebrates Eid al-Fitr. Today is the first day of Ramazan by Rami, or the festival of breaking of the fast. After fasting for a month during the Ramadan, all of Islam is celebrating this joyous occasion. In most households, the men attend morning prayers at the mosque, then they come home to find a lavish breakfast prepared. Damn, I wish I could just leave and come back to an awesome breakfast. That'd be dope. It is also customary to eat either dates or some sweets before attending the prayers. For many households, this is the first breakfast served after sunrise in the last 30 days. The younger people in the household, sons, daughters, grandchildren, traditionally kiss the hand of the elders as the elders present them with a gift. The gifts are usually money or gold coins wrapped in handkerchiefs. The 3 days of celebration are organized in a hierarchical manner. The first day is reserved for family members. It is tradition for the younger ones to visit and pay respect to the elders. Then more distant family and neighbors must be visited. This is a time for the hugs and kisses. It is also a time for broken hearts to be mended. If there are people who have had an argument, Eid is considered a time to make peace. Another famous part of the festivities includes a sweet taste of Turkish delight. These treats are offered to guests who visit as well as to the neighborhood children who run from door to door expecting candy or cash. In addition, Ramadan's famous drummers visit neighborhoods in the morning. It is customary for the residents of the street to tip the drummer for a service throughout the month. Eid Mubarak. I'm not going to read this event every time it pops up. I forget that every year. FYI, just as a heads up. We've got mech computing. It's probably a good idea to get some of these doctrines over here. Might help us out. Italian democracy survives. So we got that. This is supposed to give us some military factories, right? So in the deserts. Let's get this Army XP. None of this stuff really matters immediately, so that's fine. Get this stuff. Let's actually start building one artillery. We can add that to our boys there. Collapse of the Persian Gulf economy. Reports have reached the wall in Bosphor that several of the Persian Gulf states have been hit especially hard by the economic depression in Europe, and that this has caused shockwaves in their entire social structure. Many of these states, such as Dubai, are almost entirely dependent on the pearl fishing industry and have the European continent as their main markets. With the rise in popularity of cheaper Japanese substitutes, the market received its first hit during the 20s, but the conflict between the state and the middle European bloc ensured a steady demand for the Gulf. Now that this demand is almost overnight evaporated, the entire industry is on the brink of collapse. Well, this is, of course, unfortunate for the Arabs of the region. This catastrophe has forced them closer to the Ottoman state in our internal market. Upon the request of several sheikhs of the and emirs, TPC, Turkish Petroleum Company, has opened talks to discuss the possibility of oil exploration along the coast and to expand its operations into the Gulf. One man's loss is another man's gain. I mean, we just gained some resistance here, didn't we? Increasing unrest on Bahrain, prompted by the increased interest of the Persian government in the affairs of the Shia-majority island off the coast of Al-Hassa. There has been a noted increase in anti-Ottoman and anti-Sunni sentiment, further coupled to the pearl trade catastrophe and the weak response of the Sheikh to the decreasing living standards of his population. The island has been rocked by a wave of protests calling for reform and equal representation. More disturbing than the Persian overtures, however, is the increase of radio sets tuned in to Radio Free Cairo, speaking Arab nationalist propaganda and calling on all Arab people to throw off the Turkish yoke. Most unfortunate. Let's bring these guys back to regular, regular again. Shouldn't take too long. These guys, get up there. War support is still... I thought I was supposed to get war support from sending out those military missions, and we did not get that. So I'm very mad. Very mad. Support the CIFRC. The province of Sichuan has long been subject to food insecurity. Recently, however, this problem has greatly worsened, and the province has officially entered a famine. Philanthropists from around the world have begun to assemble conferences to help the province and have organized internationally into the China International Famine Relief Commission, CIFRC. Many of these philanthropists who have influence within our government are petitioning to directly support famine relief efforts. This has the potential to greatly improve the international perception of our government, but it will be costly. Yeah, whatever. They could have some grain. I can't improve my economy a lot anyways. So whatever. We'll be good, guys. Be a nice guy Sultan over here. Iran seizes Hengam Island. Although Hengam Island, just south of the Persian coast, on paper belongs to the Persian state, the island is de facto ruled by Sheikh Ahmed bin Obain bin Juma, father-in-law to the Sheikh of Dubai. As part of their shift in foreign policy to take a more assertive and anti-Ottoman stance, the government in Tehran has decided to push their luck in the Strait of Hormuz. Earlier this week, the Sheikh and his entourage were expelled from the island, sent packing to their family in Dubai, and the Cosmos Post was installed proudly waving the Persian flag. Whilst a diplomatic objection has been made by our government against the Persian aggression, there have been thus far no plans to escalate the small border conflict to any further punitive actions. In Dubai, however, outrage against this move by Tehran has led many to question the capacity of the Ottoman government to defend the interests of the Gulf and their sheikh for so easily submitting to these Persian ploys. Let's hope the Persian beast is now satisfied. Oh, my political power. It hurts. My pee-pee. It's hurting my pee-pee. It's a long time for that artillery. Oh well. We got that. What does this do? So one military factory or infantry equipment minus 10%. That's pretty good. 2 research bonuses for engineers, technology, and some forts. Sharif Ali Haidar passes away. Appointed by Iraq during the initial days of the Hijazi revolt, Ali Haidar Pasha of the Hashemite house had acted as Sharif of the Holy Cities for almost 2 decades before his death earlier this week. As the need of the office has been questioned repeatedly with most authority these days in the hands of the Hijazi Wali, some are hoping to use this opportunity to not appoint a successor and as such end the tradition. Son of Ali Haidar and raised amongst the court of Constantinier, Abdul Majid Haidar would be his successor, but has shown little desire for the position, preferring the lively streets of the capital to the dusty hills of the Hijaz. Abolish the Meccan Sharifate. So we'll get integration, but we'll have unrest and stability. And we're supposed to go for centralization, right? So let's fucking do it. That's going to be, I don't know, we'll see whether or not that was actually a good idea or if I'm just being a small brain right now. Let's trade for maybe another steel from Germany. They aren't even exporting right now. We can get it from the Swedes. We'll get 1 steel. Sabuk 1 dam completed in Anatolia. Built as a concrete dam on the Sabuk stream, the project was started in 1930 to control floods plaguing the Anatolian metropole of Ankara. Measured at 25 meters, 82 feet tall, 900 meters, 3,000 feet long, and made of 120,000 meters cubed of concrete, and with the aggregate for the concrete derived from volcanic rock in nearby areas, is regarded as an important leap in the engineering prowess of the Ottoman Empire. Further attending the ceremony was the Grand Vizier himself, who praised the engineers and construction workers for the labor, and has announced that projects will crop up all around the vast empire to provide necessary water management and remedy lackluster sanitation. Onwards we march. We'll get a construction bonus for that. I mean, that's nice. In Bahrain. Alright, let's go deal with that. Wow, it's got zoomed out there. Willikers. Bahrain. Where is Bahrain? It's like this stuff over here, right? Standoff in America. factory broken. Fuck. Not great. It's less than ideal. There comes Mr. Savinkov. Increasing social inequality in Iraq. Iraqi society has always been divided between city dwellers inhabiting cities such as Baghdad and Mosul, Bedouins roaming the vast deserts, and the caste farmers working the lands between the Tigris and Euphrates. This latter group has for the vast majority of its history been separated from nearly all affairs, bar their immediate needs, and has made use of the communal agricultural ground to satisfy their own and the needs of the city dwellers, benefiting from the almost non-existent authority imposed by the Ottoman Empire, who only did the bare minimum to maintain a semblance of order in the region. This group lived a poor but fairly content life. After the loss of our European holdings and the seemingly shifted loyalty of many Syrian groups, the Empire has received a wake-up call to no longer use Iraq as a poor land it was always regarded as, but to shape it in the future of the sublime state. Starting from basically a clean slate, schools, roads, and a vast administrative network were pumped out of the ground in record time, with primary level school attendance doubling year over year. A new local elite trained and indoctrinated in the various Turkish academies was to further extend Ottoman control over the cities, whilst the Ottoman military academy set up in Baghdad served to create a loyal Iraqi officer corps. As the Ottoman control over the cities increased at an explosive rate, the same evolution could, however, not be seen amongst a much larger population of peasants, still living in nearly the same condition as their ancestors had done for centuries. The Turkish educated elite, however, backed by their allies in the Iraqi walis, discontent with the low agricultural output, has over the last 2 decades increasingly privatized and seized this communal land, forcing many of its former residents into a sort of serfdom. Illiterate to the man and never having interacted with the government in the first place, this class has had barely any defense against the moneylenders and the urban elite. The farmer toils and the elite profits, and that's going to cost us some PP. So we could do this and reduce revolt risk. Give all the stuff. If we do that, we won't be able to increase our centralization score. Ho hum. Do that. So you might also want to grab these over here. Infantry production cost minus 10%. That's not bad. So I'll pay off in the long term, I think, as opposed to one military factory. Although one military factory would allow us to produce different types of things, like maybe this heavy tank we're researching. Baghdadi students protest difficult math questions. A couple of schools from the city of Baghdad have banded together in pursuit of a common enemy, math. In some places, even supported by their teachers, close to 100 students have come out of the city streets to protest against the difficulty of their mathematics exams, which are enforced under the national curriculum. It's not the first time this has happened in Baghdad, and it's unlikely to also be the last, as the Education Ministry is ignoring their demands, claiming they're just lazy students and should stop wasting time protesting instead to devote that time to their studies. Okay. Serbia crowns King Alexander. See, Wadai capitulates. Barzani insurrection in Iraqi Kurdistan. The Barzani tribe is fighting back against a growing loss of power, and the empire, as a coordinated offensive by Ottoman army and air force, has slowly been pushing them out of their territories towards Iran. The Barzanis, led by the charismatic Mustafa Barzani, have long been fighting against support, who has in recent years been responsible for the death of both his father, grandfather, and 2 brothers in failed insurrections over the last decades. Combined air power responsible for bombardment of dozens of villages and a land offensive by the army, however, seem to now be breaking the final resistance, as the sheer force of the modern arsenal brought by the Padishah's finest is overpowering what little resistance can be offered. Other Kurdish tribes, long rivals of the Barzanis, have also granted support in the form of irregulars to Turkish forces in the hopes of acquiring their lands once the rebels have been firmly put down. Soon their pathetic attempts will be silenced for good. Yes, silence them for good. And who's resisting now? More shit over here. Some militarist revolt in Paraguay. We got that. Let's get the Ottoman Armored Project. Gain 4 light armor and 2 motorized battalions. Famine in Tripolitania. Always left to the mercy of rain, Tripolitania has suffered from an especially bad year, which has caused havoc to the harvests. The steady population growth of the last 2 decades has only exacerbated the situation, as relief from Greater Syria and Anatolia is unable to fully cope with the crisis. Reports from Cyrenaica and Fezzan indicate that the issue is less severe there, as the Green Mountains seem to have been mostly spared. With the agricultural exports of the nation, its main source of revenue, now almost entirely gone, the government in Tripolitania has requested a decrease in taxes and further assistance from the Ottoman Center. I don't know, I guess we help them. Like, I don't really have that much to spend PP on anyways. Of course, the economy law is like the big one, and we can't do that, so maybe we help that to not tank our stability further. More stuff going on in Germany, Asia, I guess. It's good for them. Last voyage of the Gul Jamal. Built in 1874 by Harland and Wolff in Belfast, the originally nicknamed Germanic is one of the best-known ships in the Ottoman Empire. Starting her journey under the Ottoman flag in 1910, she provided postal services to the Black Sea region until the start of hostilities in 1915. Afterwards, the ship served with great distinction as an ammunition and troop transport until she was torpedoed by the British Navy. She is, however, best known for operations in the Aegean after the fall of Greece, in the repatriation of many Turks to the Dodecanese, and for being the first Ottoman vessel to reach the shores of America in 1921, where she proudly showed her Turkish flag. Despite her admirable feats, however, the ship has started to show its age, and after 53 years of service, she has now embarked on her final voyage to Taranto, where she will be scrapped. We are grateful for her service. What we got here? We got some mountains over here. The port there. It might be worthwhile trying to defend this line. It's unfortunate that we can't bottle them up over here anymore because this is a demilitarized zone. That's a bit of a piss off. It definitely hurts us in our attempts to cock block Egypt. Well, there is a lake here though. Second International. Alright, so we've got that. I mean, that's almost done. Fall of Boston. Foundation of the Belgrade Pact. Trouble seems to once more be amok in the Balkans, and the Balkan nations have once again gathered in opposition to the Bulgarian hegemony in the region. Although part of the same alliance as us during the Weltkrieg, there is no love between ours and their government. We are perfectly aware of their designs on Edirne and Constantinople. The Serbs for now haven't invited us to their alliance, but the likelihood of war on our western frontier is increasing by the day. Preparations are being made to reinforce the fortresses of Edirne, and our troops have been placed on high alert for any actions by the Bulgarians. Whether or not we will get sucked into war once more is unclear for now, as the ravaging Anatolian population, our recruitment pool, is still not fully recovered from the Weltkrieg. Dark clouds are gathering above Europe. There's Foundation of the Belgrade Pact. Education issues in southern Iraq. Troubling reports have reached us from southern Iraq, where parents appear to stop their children from attending the state schools due to fear of Sunni indoctrination. These citizens, predominantly following the Shiite faith, are as such obstructing the education of their children and enlarging the social divide between the Sunni and Shia Arabs, as this limits their future abilities. Little has been done by the Iraqi administration, however, as it further plays into their Sunni superiority policy, which has in recent years led to a significant decrease in Shiite officials. Furthermore, they also claim that without education, these people remain apolitical and as such forming no threat to their own positions. Yes, we must encourage enlistment. So let's go ahead and start working on that. Tank there. Do that. We also have bonuses for this stuff. 108 days for improved infantry equipment. That might be important for DDY absorbs Palestine Railways. Caused by looming bankruptcy of the Palestine Railways, the Ottoman State Railways, or DDY, have been able to purchase them and to have reintegrated them into the main Ottoman lines. Already plans are made to swap railway gauges to tie them better to the existing Ottoman net, and the creation of a direct line between Haifa and Jaffa for both goods and passengers. You controls the railroad, controls the people. Okay, so we got these two divisions of tanks and shit. That's neat. Maybe we should get a factory in light tanks. I don't know. Again, these are interesting enough units. Unfortunately, we are also on the heavy tank path, so I'm not sure if we'd actually want to use these to fight. And we could instead disband them and get ourselves some armored recon infantry units or something like that, or a space marine template. Something like this instead might be a better use. Of course, we are also not making light tanks, and deserts are going to have attrition in them, so it's those units aren't going to be that useful for all that long, but I guess we'll keep them around. Maybe send these to Ankara. So we got that. Let's get the... do you want the military factories, or do you want to start doing this? Let's do this first, get the production efficiency. Anti-Bulgarian rhetoric intensifies. As the Serbs mobilize their army and the Romanians position their armies on the other side of the Danube, anti-Bulgarian rhetoric has become widespread throughout western Anatolia, with particular hotspots in eastern Thrace where imams and populists are stirring the population up for war, reminding the population of humiliating defeats in the city at the end of the First Balkan War, and praising the heroic actions of the Ottoman army during the Second. They now call for the liberation of our Muslim brethren under the Bulgarian yoke. Small groups of citizens are already arming themselves in preparation of the coming war as conscription centers are filling up with volunteers to fight for the reconquest of Western Thrace. It seems that war is brewing whether we want it or not. Mobilize the army? Oh shit. Are we forced to fight in that war now? Wilhelmina abdicates. Okay, that's nice for her, I guess. Here's the Fourth Balkan War. What do we have here? Demand Western Thrace. I mean, I think those events imply maybe something bad will happen if we don't, so I guess we will demand Western Thrace. I'm a bit worried about pissing off the Bulgarians, of course, and you know, then they backstab us while we're busy elsewhere. Of course, Adrianople being one of our better territories, you can't really afford to give it up. Trouble in Dubai. Tensions have been rising in the Sheikhdom of Dubai and the Persian Gulf as the catastrophic collapse of the pearl trade has caused massive shockwaves in the small city. Nakudis, captains of pearl fishing boats, are forced to stay in port year-round as competition with the synthetic pearl originating in Japan has saturated the market, an already smaller pie due to the global economic catastrophe. Furthermore, the monopoly on power of the Sheikh has given rise to a reform movement calling, if not for his outright abdication, at least for the installment of a democratic body in the form of Majlis. Under threat from a supposed assassination plot by a group of local merchants, disgruntled princes, and expatriates, the Ottoman fleet has dispatched a small vessel to the Trucial coast to deter any open aggression against the Sheikh. But tensions have only further escalated, with the ruler and his supporters entrenched on the Bur-Dubai side of the creek and his opponents on the other side at Deira. It seems the whole Sheikhdom is spoiling for a fight. Sporadic gunfire has reportedly been heard in the city, and meddlers in the neighboring Sheikdoms are seemingly looking for a chance to pounce back their horse in the fight to come. Pounce back and back their horse in the fight to come. Do we want integration or not? What are we at in the Arab Peninsula? It's at 55% right now. That's like this stuff over here. More political power than 10. So we could start upping that. Like I don't think we need to do that right now though. Let's just keep the unrest a bit low. Like we don't need those factories and manpower right now anyways. It's a question of Thrace. Oh geez, so I lose 50 political power if we don't do it. Bulgaria now embroiled in a war with the Belgrade Pact. The question has now arisen within the halls of government as to whether we too should reclaim lands which are rightfully ours. Since the end of the Well Creek, Bulgaria has occupied lands in Western Thrace which are largely both Muslim and Turkish. Surely they would see reason if their old ally asked them to be handed over. Alright, I guess we'll do it. Bulgaria refuses. Okay, so I guess we're going to war with the Bulgarians here. The Grand Vizier speaks. Praising the virtue and bravery of the Ottoman soldiers in the front lines fighting for the honor of the empire, the Grand Vizier has called upon Parliament to provide a unified statement of praise at the address of the Sultan, congratulating him with the victories of his troops. Hammering down on the sacred duty of the Ottoman state and to the Sultan every single one of them shares, he has subsequently requested that Parliament be temporarily dismissed until the war is over, and that be granted full executive powers to guide the nations during these trying times. How can one, he continues, have an issue with the exalted Sultan and per extension of his council of ministers during this crisis? And how could there be disagreement in a case so righteous and noble? Answered by the ear-shattering applause from his supporters and the rise of representatives from all across the empire to outdo the other in singing their praise of the most exalted of sultans and his royal servant, a vote on the proposal was called at once and answered by now unanimous support from both sides. Members of the opposition fear that raising their voice against a cause so patriotic and so just may paint them as enemies of the state and traitors to our beloved Caliph. As word of the parliamentary agreement spread to the streets of Constantinople, and a letter of praise is proclaimed to the roaring patriotic crowds gathered in front of the building, some say as part of an organized action by the OHF, tears spontaneously spring up from the eyes of the bystanders as the excitement and enthusiasm of the people spreads to both sides of the Bosporus. Long live the Dalvet-i Ebed Mudet, long live the Padisha. Okay, so there goes our stability even more so again. And we need commanders here. This is silly. So, pause. You get Panzer Leader. And you guys over here. Let's go with, get this guy. Get some infantry guys, I guess. It's fine. You can get the, that guy. 4 years of progress. Cool. They're going to send us artillery events. Like, that works out for us, doesn't it? Maybe we should start doing these things over here. Like, I think... Let's see here. Political power, resistance increases. So these are all centralization decisions. Like, I don't know if you want to be doing this before that war starts. So maybe we should be holding off on this stuff. So let's get some factories and some production cost bonuses, maybe. Engineers. That's a lot of stuff to try and afford, though. Constantinople, one at military factory. Air doctrine. I think let's just get this factory here. Maybe let's actually build some trucks and light tanks again. Like, I think it's going to be difficult to actually support. Oh geez, you guys are like having some real hard time over there. Occupied territories, resistance. Let's put you guys under the... So like this will lower our resistance target. I guess we gotta do something though, right? Let's do the martial law in that state. And where was the other one over here? That was Greek, right? Is Cyprus Greece here? Yeah, this is Greece. Resistance target is 37%. Let's also do martial law in Greece. What are we missing here? Infantry equipment. Kamal is closed down. Like, you know, we actually can't afford to do that, so we'll just do local police force. Like, that's the best we can do. Kamal has closed down HIF newspapers, bearing the seal of the Grand Vizier and a tirade decreeing the closure of all anti-patriotic news agencies. Police forces and soldiers of the Constantinople Corps can be seen going from door to door, confiscating printing presses and sealing offices of newspapers affiliated with the opposition. Liberal protesters gathered in front of the buildings and have called upon the soldiers to cease their actions at once, crying out that the freedom of speech and free press are being silenced by the dictatorship of the Grand Vizier. A small skirmish between police forces and protesters in front of the HIF's main office was broken up by police batons, as 10 bystanders were taken into custody for unpatriotic actions and treason towards the Sultan. The Grand Vizier tightens his grip on the nation. There's no point in doing those attacks. That's bad, though. Totalists in the Baharadia commune. Paraguay has capitulated. Okay. Kill that unit. I was gonna try and snake Sophia, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And like already we're running out of light tanks. Delay. Get a mobile defense. Grand Vizier travels to the front. To bolster the morale of the troops on the front lines and his own reputation as Ghazi of Madras, the old commander-in-chief of the Ottoman army and current Grand Vizier decided to take a trip to the front to discuss the situation with his generals. Congratulating the High Command for their astonishing victories and shaking hands with many of the foot soldiers in the army, the Pasha's actions seem more like an election campaign and less like governing. The action is successful nonetheless, and the popularity of the hero of Antep and Maras continues to rise with every victory on the field. The army salutes its hero! That's a nice buff. Yeah, resistance is going to be a problem, of course. Kazim Pasha wounded. That's unfortunate. We've occupied Thrace. Okay, let's make the offer. Great, so like we were at peace with the Bulgarians again. What's in here anyway? It's like one civilian factory. Incorporation of Thrace. The nation stands victorious atop the corpus of the Bulgarian state, successfully wrestling back control over its lost territories. Throughout western Thrace, the army is hailed as heroes and the sons of Osman himself. Let's actually, now that I'm thinking about this, let's not build an Adrianople. Just in case Bulgaria is a little bit mad about that, let's maybe build somewhere safer, like, I don't know, like over here on this side of Constantinople. The nation stands victorious. We did that already. Throughout Western Thrace, the armies hailed as heroes, and the sons of Osman himself, as in Constantinier, the triumph of Mustafa Kemal is supreme. From his actions in the Italian-Ottoman War to his valiant defense at Gallipoli to his role in the closing stages of the Weltkrieg, there can be no more doubt of his skill and patriotism. Although not originally envisioning a campaign into the Balkans in his designs for the nation, the reconquest of the lost sons of Osman has made him nigh untouchable within the Ottoman political sphere. All eyes are on him, Ghazi Mustafa Kemal Pasha, now as the opposition tries to garner what support it has to prevent this man from disabling them indefinitely. His rise was spectacular, but it's easy to fall when you're so high up. That's a true say, I guess. Camel wrestling for the Air Force. As the economic depression caused by Black Monday crisis has taken a heavy toll on their empire, the budget for the military has also seen a significant decrease. In order to make up some of the losses, the Ottoman National Aviation League has decided to host a fundraiser in the shape of a spectacular camel wrestling championship, like Anatolia has never seen before. Based on the old Turkic traditions, over 2,300 years old, in the Turkish form of camel wrestling, two male Tulu camels wrestle, typically in response to a female camel in heat being led before them. The camels fight by using their necks as leverage to force the opponent to fall down. The camel is declared the winner if his competitor falls to the ground or flees from the fight. Although the practice is regarded as backwards by many of the OHF and as severe cruelty by animal rights supporters, the Turk Okaklari have applauded the initiative, calling it a grand celebration of Turkish culture. May the best camel win. Okay. I guess that's the thing. We're still lagging behind a bit on the artillery production, which is a bit unfortunate. Mozambique Bush War. Like, I think maybe we just throw one factory in light tank. We got the units. We can disband these armored ones and like get ourselves like a Space Marine unit or something like that. I don't think we won't have enough tank production to support like a unit that has this many of them. I don't think. Okay, FT-17. So I guess maybe these are like the ones we had in inventory. Those Weltkrieg era tanks. You know, with one factory on this, we can use this for like a light armored recon later, anyways. So yeah, you know, I mean, that should be okay. We'll get that, and then we'll get the maximize military production. 10% more rifles. I guess we can use this other guy here, the Mountaineer. Panama capitulates, okay. So maybe construction speed, I don't know about that. 14 economic commissions, factory output. Production efficiency growth, civilian factories. Like, probably you might want to come down here and do this stuff next. Enver Bey cigarettes take over. Founded in 1909 by Mendel Gottreich, the German-based cigarette company, Enver Bey was handed over to the state monopoly on tobacco today. The company, which derives its name from the infamous Enver Pasha, has declared that it will continue operations but change its name, further announcing new brands and varieties to the trusted Ottoman product. Although the company is only a small player on the Ottoman German market, the main producer being the Yanid's factory in Dresden, the sale marks another point in the constantly developing friendship between Ottoman and German business markets. This is it's cool for us, I guess. So you're the Mountaineer, right? It's like, let's get you on like a line over here to Baghdad, I guess. Or can we even go all the way to, like, it would be nice to like completely isolate the Persians. We have, come down over this way maybe, you've got Baghdad. We've got this river line here to Basra. Gearing government overthrown. So let's see if we can, let's see what that looks like. You have enough to man that line. Then from you guys, let's maybe go to Beirut, Damascus, and maybe come around and link up in Baghdad. Maybe we'll roll out. Maybe we'll try and roll out with something like that. I think Armenia might rebel too. So maybe we really want to do that. This is a plain style. It's like maybe we want to consider fortifying that. Still 1 year on artillery too. Madan shelter criminals. The Madan are marsh Arabs who inhabit the marshes near the city of Basra have long been a thorn in the side of the central authority of the region, just as their marshland home has been all but terra incognita for the Ottoman administration. Explorers who venture into their lands never return, and the Madan who cooperate with outside authorities often find themselves severely punished by their local leaders in retaliation. The inhospitable nature of their marshes has, up until now, mostly ensured their autonomy, and the political apathy towards the Ottoman regime has kept them off the radar. Recent Assyrian damming and settlement projects made an effort to develop new agricultural land and to flush out the Shiite resistance fighting the Assyrian settlers have forced them to take a more active stance. Now the Marsh Arabs not only sheltering fugitives from Assyrian operations, but also those of the Baghdadi Wali. The latter, angered by this development, have requested reinforcements from Constantinian to bring them in line and impose both taxes and conscription for the Ottoman army. I guess we'll do that. We're supposed to be centralists or some shit, right? I guess these guys have like artillery and stuff now. It's like they're not really just like rifles. They'd be actually a helmet division. Yourselves that factory output. Yes, we're a bit late on machine tools, but it is what it is. We have another buff available for this stuff too. Unrest in Thrace. During the dark years of the empire, when its borders were under assault from all sides, massive population displacements occurred in the Balkans. As from one day upon another, hundreds of thousands of Muslims found themselves in a nation overly hostile to their existence. Endless caravans of refugees were forced to leave the former Ottoman territories after its humiliating defeats and tried to find a new home on the edges of the capital, from where the Ottoman government tried to resettle them across Anatolia. Many of these people forced out of their homes in a war they often played no part in have seen in recent reconquest of Bulgarian territory to finally return home, and have been encouraged to do so by Constantine, who desires to deport as many Bulgarians out of her territory as possible. To make room for these people, the government has confiscated vast swaths of land from Bulgarian landowners to distribute it among its citizens. Not unsurprisingly, the Bulgarian people living on the land are opposing the government wherever they can, and skirmishes between Muslim Turks and Bulgars are daily occurrences throughout the region. To answer the growing crisis and to restore public order to these new acquisitions of the empire, the army has requested a mandate to restore order by force if necessary. Foreign response has been openly negative to the deportations, and some more cautious members of our government are requesting us to tone down the scale of operations to avoid creating a scene for the European intervention, not unlike those seen throughout the 19th century. Let's not do anything drastic, I guess. A little bit of party popularity. I'm a little bit worried about resistance here. What's our resistance looking like? This is still pretty rough. 70 over here. Yikes. You start doing there, and we'll send this guy over here to Thrace. Thrace? Doesn't look like there's any resistance over there, actually. This is pretty bad, though. Can we actually add shovels to these guys? Or do we have enough for that? No, not even close. Economic commissions. We will strive for autarky. So that political power gain will be nice. Of course, we are able to up our economy law. We have enough war support, so that's very important. And there's a research slot down here too. Alice order capitulates. Production efficiency growth. Beautiful. Let's get that. So Nepal is going to war with India. It's not that uncommon to see. We're still missing the artillery here. I don't want to fight with like negative supplies. Maybe like we just duplicate this. And like I wasted 10 army XP doing this, but let's yeah, let's just do that. So we'll have like what's more like these guys like in the mountains, like they probably don't need as much support, so we'll just make these guys a rifle company. And train them again to get the extra. Recruit and deploy. It's fine. So we'll train one more of these, and then we'll start training these guys with the rifle. We'll just leave that. I think there was an event there that popped up that I think I just might have clicked while I was busy doing something else. So sorry about that. Didn't read it. You over here. I'll have those guys train. And we'll just have these guys doing like a training army instead, then that's fine. And that improves our situation with the artillery by quite a bit, so that's nice. Yeah, like we're not going to have nearly enough tank production to support them with like those 2 tank divisions there. Ain't going to work. Let's get these. Do you want production efficiency growth? That would help us with our tanks like a little bit. I think let's get these civilian factories. The infantry attack. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And then this bastard should be starting doing his own Cairo conference focuses soon. You guys, let's have these guys on the old convoy rating here. Just do convoy rating in the Red Sea, and we will have our main force on strike force over here, and that should prevent naval invasions with naval supremacy there. Like that should be okay. Massacre in Al-Qurna. The site of the now famous Battle of Al-Qurna during the initial phase of the Mesopotamian campaign at the Well Creek, the eponymous city of Al-Qurna became home to a large community of Assyrian refugees and settlers following the war. While relations between the Assyrian settlers and the local predominantly Madan Arab population have never been warm, tensions escalated earlier this week as 30 Assyrian settlers were massacred in a raid on their quarter, with the destruction of 50 more homes. The Assyrian local government has already declared the action a deed of extreme barbarity, and in addition to demanding support from the Ottoman army to push the Madan further into the marshes, has called up its own local militia forces, the Assyrian levies, who have largely assumed peacekeeping and policing duties in the British-controlled regions of Basra and Vilayet. I guess we're sending a detachment from Baghdad. The Empire celebrates Eid ul-Fitr. Today is the first day of Ramazan. This is the same event we had before, so we get some political power there. That's nice. So maybe get 2 on light tanks. Salvadoran commune capitulates. Then we're in the green for artillery now. So actually, let's just get the normal helmet. Default symbol. There you go, normal helmet. Assyrian levies exact revenge for Al-Qurna. In retaliation for the murder of Assyrians and destruction of their property, the Assyrian local government has sent out the Assyrian levies to exact revenge on the Madanan, burning down multiple villages and driving the Marsh Arabs further into the swamps and marshes of southern Mesopotamia. Their actions show a clear intent to forcefully dislocate the native population in order to acquire more fertile land. I mean, I thought we as Ottomans were like all about forcibly dislocating people. It's like we should have no problem with this, right? The Wall in Basra has requested confirmation from the government to disband the Assyrian levies as he fears that further actions could lead to a massacre rivaling the Lebanese Civil War, which took place only a few decades ago. However, he also sees in this challenge an opportunity to weaken the autonomy of the Assyrians and hasten their full integration to a new Ottoman society. Yes, we'll disband the levies. Shimon 21st Ashai pleads for the preservation of Assyrian levies. The Patriarch of Babylon, de facto leader of the Assyrian community, Shimon 21st Ashai, has pleaded for permission to maintain the Assyrian levies. Without them, he says, the people are fully left to the mercy of Muslim gendarmerie forces and have no way to prevent the March Arabs from murdering more Assyrians. Nonsense. The Ottoman gendarmerie protects all, regardless of religion. We are, of course, secularists, so that should be a true statement. Ooh, okay. Assyria changes their diplomatic status with us. Declare war. Okay. So I guess we're going to war with the Assyrians there. Damn, we just can't catch a break here, can we? Assyria declares its independence. Okay. Continuing to maintain that the levies are the only thing between life and death for the Assyrian people, Rab, Kali, Dawid, Damar, Shimun has rescinded the order from the Wali and Basra and has mobilized his troops. Backed by the Church of the East, Shimun has declared Basra an autonomous region within the empire. Basra, oh, that's over here, okay. And has demanded the immediate withdrawal of the Wali's forces from the region, self-government for the Assyrian people, the right to collect taxes independently, and further protection of the Assyrian Church from Shiite discontent. The Wali of Basra has, in response, mobilized the city's gendarmerie to disband the levies by force if necessary. However, he finds himself substantially outgunned and outnumbered within the city. In Constantinier, the Grand Vizier is furious at this betrayal and has demanded all Mesopotamian troops mobilized to put down the Assyrian insurrection before foreign intervention in their favor can occur. Okay, I guess conveniently we have a bunch of troops like already over there. Good thing I didn't fortify that tile. I was gonna fortify like over here anywhere. No, that was over there, wasn't it? Yeah. Good thing I didn't fortify that tile. That would have oof. Let's have you guys strat redeploy. We will send in the army. Assyrian declares its independence. In response to the Ottoman decision to abolish the Assyrian levies after a retaliatory attack by force on the Madan and with the last vestiges of the Assyrian autonomous zone in Basra under direct threat, Patriarch of the Assyrian Church of the East and de facto ruler of the Assyrian state, Shimon 21st Ashai, has declared the independence of Assyria. Claiming that it is no longer possible to safeguard the safety of his people within the Ottoman framework, the Patriarch has called on the former allies in the Entente to ensure the preservation of both the state and the entire culture. Let's mark a new beginning for the Assyrian people. No, I think it'll be a new end for the Assyrian people. Do you have an airbase over here? No. It's like instead of mission activated, so we have. Okay, it's like we have to, I guess, win in that amount of time. Clash in the Arab Gulf. Tensions between Constantinier and Tehran reached a new high this week as Persian customs detained a Dubai-flagged Jalpat on its travel to the island of Greater Thumb, sparking immediate outrage from the entire population of the Trucial coast. In a rare display of unity for the region, a squadron of the Ottoman fleet was dispatched to the region and anchored just before the coast of the Persian city of Linga, sending an ultimatum to the Persian government to immediately release the passengers who were traveling under the protection of the Sultan Caliph. Escalation ultimately brought forth a salvo from the Ottoman fleet, after which the white flag was hoisted on the shore. Whilst the safe passage of Ottoman subjects in the Persian Gulf has thus been reassured by force, many are seeing in this yet another sign of a nearing confrontation between the two former enemies. With unrest rising in Palestine and friction on the Kurdish frontier, it may even seem that this confrontation is coming sooner rather than later. The Persians are playing a very dangerous game. And that's a planes tile. Let's just go up to 5 speed again. Like, I don't think... I just have the one victory point, right? Guess they also have to wait. Alright. So we'll have you guys hang out like over here and like, I don't know, somewhere. Assyrian revolt crushed. Unsurprisingly, the Assyrian revolt has been crushed by a vastly superior army. Patriarch Shamun XXI the Shai has ordered his government to lay down their weapons. Our sources say he was spotted embarking on an unmarked Indian vessel bound for Delhi just before the fall of Basra. With this action, no organized resistance remains in southern Iraq, and Ottoman might is once again victorious. Praise Allah! The Empire celebrates Epiphany. What are we missing? Motorized. A Christian holiday, also known as the Three Kings Day in Western... Let's actually build some motorized. A Christian holiday, also known as the Three Kings Day in Western Christianity, Epiphany is one of the most sacred holidays of the Orthodox faith, which constitutes the majority of our Christian population. In Constantinople and Smyrna, the holiday is celebrated most openly by the symbolic great blessing of waters, wherein the Patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Church throws a wooden cross into the waters of the Golden Horn. A group of pious swimmers will subsequently endure its icy waters to retrieve the cross and deliver it to the Patriarch. Not just the Christians celebrate this day, however, as the blessing of Muslim fishing ships occurs on the same day and is performed all over the Empire. We honor the Son of God. Okay. You guys can go back to this order now. Alright, great. And everything is like, so... where is that? Is that Iraqi? Arab Peninsula? Napolitanian lands? Like, it said it activated another mission. But I'm not seeing anything over here. Assyrian revolt completed. Maybe we just have to wait for that to show up. Alright, so got mobile defense. Let's get this integrated support. Get that construction technology too, I guess. Let's start building for Expo anyway. Then we'll do that second Anatolian. Then we'll get these other civilian factories. Formation of the Syrian Muslim Brotherhood. Inspired by events in Egypt under the leadership of the charismatic Imam Hassan al-Banna and by the continued secularization and westernization of the empire, a small group of conservatives in Damascus have set up a Syrian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, pledged to restore a real Arab caliphate to the Middle East and rid the region of Western decadence. Sheikh Mustafa al-Sabai has found a listening ear in the struggling population of Homs. Subsidies from the Egyptian court for his organization are sure to have had an impact on his membership, but thus far our intelligence has pointed out that it has remained a fringe movement within the greater Syrian political climate. Disturbing. Let's maybe do that. Let's also get some submarines, I guess. Well, these are some pretty shit submarines, but let's build them. We have some command power available, so let's maybe spend that. You're our defensive guys. We'll get the defensive doctrine. This guy has no room for anything. That guy's got nothing. You guys... Let's get the Silent Hunter upgrade. Torpedo Expert. Get Concealment Expert over here, and the I don't think we need that. I think we're making enough right now that we can train these guys over here. Maybe we still need some rifle guys too. I guess we got a bunch after that capitulation. Reconciliation with Bulgaria. In what many consider a surprising move, the new Bulgarian government has, in what may be considered a reconciliatory tone, attempted to foster ties and build relations between our two nations, citing the stability of the Balkans as the key reason for fostering ties. While we are under no obligation to accept, perhaps doing so would be a great boon to the Ottoman Empire. Sure, we can reconcile with Bulgaria. Just delete orders. I'll have you hold there. I'm thinking maybe we'll move our line this way. Better terrain. Protests escalate in Jerusalem. That's interesting, I guess. Saudis encroach on the Al-Buraimi Oasis. Placed on the border between Muscat and the former Trucial states, ownership of the oasis has been a contested affair for many generations between the sultans of Muscat and the emirs further north. For the conquest of the latter by Ibn Saud, he has also taken over these old claims and is using them for his own machinations. It is no secret, however, that Ibn Saud is not planning to stop his advance after taking the oasis, and by claiming that they were once part of the great Wahhabi state, he will surely not stop until the city of Muscat is ablaze and the vile Ikhwan have slaughtered all that oppose him. As a further expansion of the Saudis and the collapse of a friendly Arab government would greatly harm Ottoman interests in the region, the Wali in Basra and Baghdad has requested assistance from the central government so he can defend the sovereignty of the Sultan of Muscat. I guess we'll assist him. Yes. Anti-Zionist protest in Baghdad. Organized by students from the Baghdad Law College and Iraqi groups such as the Young Muslim Society, protests are rocking the capital of the Iraqi region. They are expressing their outrage towards the increasing Zionist settlements in the MOJ and calling on all Muslims in the empire to protect their Palestinian brethren from this threat. Muscat accepts our offer. Answering positively to our offer, the Wali in Baghdad has sent orders to the Admiral of the Fleet of Basra to steam for Muscat and assist the Sultan. Led by Rauf Pasha, the expedition furthermore consists of 1,500 soldiers from the Ottoman Sixth Army and the German-produced armored cars fit for desert warfare. Whilst not included as part of military expeditions, a representative of the Turkish Petroleum Company and various members of bureaucratic corps of Basra have been sent along to influence the Muscati government and hopefully retrieve a reward for our assistance. Good luck, Pasha. Sure you want to do that, Saudi Arabia? I mean, that would be good for us. I mean, if we can kill the Saudis before Farouk forms his little faction over here. Creation of the State Airlines General Directorate. Seen as one of the most vital technological advancements of our era, the Ottoman government has always had a keen interest in the field of aviation, as its potential for partisan suppression and quick communication are essential for maintaining the integrity of the sublime state. Besides military applications, however, there has been a growing interest into the potential of civilian transportation by air from the center to periphery. To cater to this demand, the government has struck a partnership with the German aircraft manufacturer Junkers to enable the construction of licensed-built planes within the Ottoman Empire. Even though the empire doesn't readily possess the technological prowess or degree of industrialization to mass-produce aircraft, this sector of the industry has been absorbed into the state directives as essential to the interests of the Ottoman state. The current airline, operated by the Ministry of Defense, has also been rebranded into the State Airlines General Directorate and folded into the Department of Transportation. Whilst ambitious plans for an airport in Constantinople have also been drafted up, the lack of funding has postponed these indefinitely, with the already collected funding instead shifted towards the expansion of airstrips in Baghdad, Beirut, Mecca, and Misrata. We take to the skies. Okay. Syrian League of National Action. Rumors had been brewing for a while now, after the electoral defeat of the decentralist coalition in 1935, of a new party for second-generation Syrian nationalists, promising to be young, dynamic, and very different from the traditional Damascene parties. This new party was today announced to the public under their leaders Ahmad Sharabati, Abdul Razak al-Dandashi, Irfan al-Jalad, and Shafiq Suleiman as the League of National Action. In opposition to the old elites deeply ingrained within Ottoman civil system, the new party promises to be the voice of the Syrian youth and work together with the Arab nationalist forces to hasten the autonomy Syria has been striving for. Likely influenced by Egyptian rhetoric, the League of National Action has also embraced Qawmi, or Greater Arab identity, as opposed to the Syria-focused Watani identity of the Damascene elite. Despite their enthusiasm, however, so far interest from regions outside Syria has been lukewarm at best, and even within Syria their message doesn't seem to reach much further than Damascus. They're just bored youngsters. Here, Hido's getting a little bit ambitious there, isn't he? So we're starting to run out of manpower. That's a bit concerning, isn't it? Alright, so we got those investments. Let's get the model farm project, and we'll get a research slot. Go on, revolt. Okay, and I guess now they're not justifying us on us anymore. Anti-Zionist actions in Iraq. After protests were ultimately quelled by the Wali of Baghdad for their disruptive nature, various Arab and Muslim groups expressed their grief in different ways. Days of mourning have been declared, prayers recited for the souls of all who perished in Palestine, and newspapers appear bordered in black. Even more disturbing is romantic attachment to the flag of the failed Arab revolt, which has regularly started to show up all across gatherings. Although its usage is officially banned by the state, many Arab gendarmerie units are refusing to intervene, causing its distribution to increase at a rapid pace. It's starting to get out of hand. We could build a port there. That's interesting. Look, maybe we could choke off the Farouk. Murder in Baghdad. As tensions continue to mount in the MOJ, and aggressive action is undertaken by the international gendarmerie, relations between Muslims and Jews within the empire itself are also deteriorating. Last week, 2 Jews were shot in the streets of Baghdad by unknown persons, either for personal or political motives. A few days later, another Jew was killed, prompting demand from the Jewish community in the city for gendarmerie protection, with which the Wali complied. Although further attacks have thus far not occurred, this only further confirms the fears of increasing instability in Mashriq. Most disturbing. You already have a guy working on that. So Iran wants some now. Chief Rabbi denounces the Zionist program, continued attacks on the Jewish community in Baghdad, and threats in local newspapers demanding that the rabbi expresses opposition to the Zionist project and international Jewry in general, have forced the chief rabbi of the city to ultimately comply. To further relieve tensions amongst the Muslim population, meetings to explain the Palestine situation were organized in Baghdad mosques after prayers commemorating the ascent of the Prophet. Whether it was the message or the high attendance of plainclothes policemen which stopped further escalation is unclear. A wise decision. What event or decision do? Okay, that's just a lag. It was just a bit of lag. Chief Rabbi Haim Ishak-Saki denounces the MOJ. Usually not a man easy to react to political developments within the empire, the chief rabbi of Constantinople, or Hakam Bashi, has decided to openly proclaim his support for the Ottoman government in their attempts to reintegrate the Palestinian region. Referencing the long and mutually cooperative history of Jews with the Ottoman system, he has attacked the Zionists, whose primarily European minds have no idea of the damage they are inflicting on relations between Muslim and Jew in the Orient. Support from rabbis in Yemen, Baghdad, and Tripolitania have arrived at the Haham Basilik chief rabbinate in the capital as they too experience increasing anti-Jewish attacks caused by the agitated Muslim population of the empire. Although their words are unlikely to have any effect on the policy in the region, it's the last in a long line of desperate attempts to de-escalate tensions. We're grateful for your support. General strike in Palestine. Organized by various Arab national committees, a general strike of all Arabs engaged in labor, transport, and shopkeeping has been called to force the departure of international forces, listing their demands as 1. Prohibition of all Jewish immigration now and in the future, 2. Prohibition of the transfer of territory from Arabs to Jews, and 3. Immediate withdrawal from the international gendarmerie. A vast portion of the Arab population is primed to partake in the action encouraged by religious leaders and influential families. The Council has already reported that it will crack down heavily on any attempts to force its departure, and gendarmerie forces have already been sent into Jaffa to arrest possible ringleaders of the strike. May Allah bless their efforts. Let's maybe see how that pans out first before we commit to building those bunkers. Because maybe this will become demilitarized or something once the international gendarmerie is kicked out. And then maybe we'd be... Well, of course we can't build in their territory anyway, but it looks like there's already bunkers there. Like, it still might be feasible to try and push up here for a choke. Violence in the MOJ. Increasing Jewish migration and a decrease in the resources after the American forces pulled out last year has caused violence to erupt once more in the MOJ, leading to the deaths of multiple dozen Arabs in peacekeeping and strike-breaking actions. Our government has, in response, increased its calls for the abolishment of the entity, pointing out that only Ottoman rule can end the crisis peacefully. Various Jewish groups across our empire are also calling on the Sultan to take a more decisive stance towards the MOJ, as they fear retaliation by their Arab brethren for the actions by the international gendarmerie. Send new orders to our Mutasarrif. Society for the Defense of Palestine forms, fostered by the General Taha al-Hashimi, brother of the Baghdadi Wali Yassin al-Hashimi. The Society for the Defense of Palestine was formed earlier this week, primarily created to connect donations for the Arab Mujahideen fighting in Palestine. They are, however, also an important conduit for Arab nationalism, as the direct action from the government against the MOJ remains absent. Nonetheless, taking action against the group may be dangerous, as the family connection between its founder and the Baghdadi Wali and war hero Yassin could lead to unfortunate consequences if not handled carefully. Let's just not intervene for that one. Arab desperados leave for Palestine. Coming from within the Ottoman army stationed in Iraq and Syria, a small group of volunteers and desperados has deserted the force to join the Palestinian guerrilla movements, presumably led by Fazi al-Qawuqji. an Ottoman officer of Syrian descent. The group is reported to be well armed and receiving covert support from the Walis of the Mashriq. Let's hope the International Council gets the hint. Okay, so Muscat declared war on Saudi Arabia. That's a bit suicidal of them, maybe? Maybe the Ikhwan will kill the Saudis for us, and then we'll fight Ikhwan. Does Ikhwan have a tree? That would be hilarious. No, they do not. Creation of the Yavuz Sultan Selim Association. Based around the illustrious Sultan Selim I, who conquered the entire Mamluk Sultanate in the early 16th century, Turkish and Arab intellectuals have come together to press the Sultan for a resolution to the Palestinian crisis, organizing debates, political fora, and teaching local Arabs of the ties binding Turks and Arabs together over the last few centuries. A large focus is placed on teaching about the history of the Ottoman Palestine, and the prosperity is encouraged under the wing of the Caliph. Some have, however, discredited the association, calling it a propaganda stunt of the Constantinian government, who is finding it harder and harder by the day to find support for its Ottomanist ideology. Foreign observers, in the meanwhile, called a stunt by the Grand Vizier to increase support amongst his population for military intervention in the region. Gods, we were strong then. Nice. Strong when? I guess we could be strong again. I mean, that's fine. What is Iran doing? We assert claims on Iraqi Arab. Okay. Protests in Haifa, constituting the northern part of what could be called Ottoman Palestine. The province of Haifa has long served as an economic center point for the region, with the demarcation of the MOJ borders in 1920 based on an arbitrary position of the front lines of the time. Much of the economic connections between north and south were disrupted. The growing Jewish community in the region was largely displaced in the following months, to great anger of both Jews and Arabs alike. As tensions continue to rise in the MOJ, so have Palestinian Arabs in Haifa taken to the streets in support of their southern brethren, calling upon the Caliph to protect Islam from this foreign invasion, to reunite Palestine, and to make a stand against imperial encroachment. Thousands are marching down the city's narrow streets. This is getting out of hand very fast. Expand the model farm project. Let's get that research slot. Civi and Steel is pretty good too, though. Let's get the research slot first. Is Farouk doing his shit yet? Yeah, it looks like he is. He's done the Arab Congress, so he's up to shenanigans. Look, maybe we should build this stuff, like, just in case. The Ashbal al-Aruba. Further developments have occurred in the Syrian political capital of Damascus, where, to the example of many nationalist movements in Europe, the League of National Action has given rise to their own militia. Called the Ashbal al-Aruba, they say that they have been inspired by European armies and are wearing green shirts, parading through the streets of Damascus, unarmed as to not give the gendarmerie an excuse to intervene. The militia promises to create three-dimensional men out of the Syrian youth, excelling in martial arts, politics, mathematics, politics, and poetry. Most disturbing. You want the 1939 gun? Like, I'll use a bonus for that, but like I'm thinking maybe we want to start working in industry tech or something. Or maybe picking that up. I'm not going to reset our production for that rifle right now. That would be a bit silly. Can we give all you guys support already? Does that work out for us? Let's not deal with that right now. Taiwan capitulates. It's nice for the Saudis, I suppose. Bahraini commune capitulates. Decision is available. What decisions do we have? We can regulate Shiite pilgrims. I don't think there's any reason to like do that stuff right now though. I'll put you guys over here. And I don't know, this guy's probably fine for that. Aleppan Institute of Technology. Yeah, like we really need some political power. Actually. Grand Vizier seized power in the Balkan War. Grand Vizier seized power after a failed assassination attempt. So, like, do we not like seize power there? I thought that's what that event would be, right? Like we seize some power there. I don't know. I guess we didn't do that though. Yes, we got that. So I guess we're just waiting for Farouk's little support the imamate. Yeah, we'd want to hold the port, obviously. So we'll do that.
İntikal vakti. Buradan gidiyoruz.
Send those guys over there for now. And next, a research slot. Let's go for some more industry. Like, I really need that political power to up our conscription law. Chile joins the International. That's nice for Chile.
Anlaşıldı.
Damocles project. Okay, good for the syndicalists. They can go and do syndicalist things. So we got that. Get those city factories. Where do we get these? Mosul and Baghdad. Which I would hope we would control those. Let's get the steel. Alright, so we got more resistance. Send you over to Damascus. Construction tech, or what's our production like now? We're at full, so like let's get machine tools. Like we actually just might need to not do focuses and bang political power for a while. And we need that manpower. The invasion of Kasab. Houndsmen of the otherwise quiet Kasab were really awakened by the presence of an Iranian detachment on their shore this morning. As in yet another move of mounting tensions in the Arab Gulf, the government of Tehran is seemingly unilaterally taking control over the entire Strait of Hormuz. The occupation has been without bloodshed, seemingly being led from the Iranian cruiser Persepolis, where shortly after 6 a.m. a group of 5 lifeboats were disembarked and sent towards the harbor of Kasab. After a short kerfuffle with the small Mascati garrison in Kasab Castle, the Mascati surrendered and the Iranian flag was hoisted over its battlements to signify the new ruler of the peninsula. This blatant act of aggression, which has cut off our dominions in the Gulf from their traditional partners in India, has caused great consternation in Basra and Baghdad. Officials are demanding an immediate response to the threat, showcasing the strength of the Ottoman fleet and giving the Iranians a warning they won't soon forget. So I think we're maybe going to war with the Iranians then. Is that it? Instead of this, let's actually get transport technology. Yes, and should we send these guys over to? Of course, like the easiest way to kill Persia is to just like do a naval invasion. So we'll see how that, we'll see what that looks like. We'll set sail for Kasab. Iran abandons Musandam Peninsula. Seemingly scared off by the Ottoman fleet, the Iranians have packed up their bags in Kasab and returned to the Persepolis. With the Iranian presence removed from the peninsula, a question remains as to its future. The Sultan of Muscat has proven utterly incapable of defending against even the smallest of armies, and with the rising importance of the Hormuz Strait in the global economy being the vein that connects Iraqi and Bahraini oil to the world, some have asked themselves whether it wouldn't be better for our security if a permanent Ottoman garrison established on the peninsula. let's establish a garrison there, I guess. Here at Abu Dhabi.
Tamamdır.
We probably also want to hold that too. Look at level 3 report there.
Anlaşıldı. Anlaşıldı. Anlaşıldı.
We'll send you over there to hold that port. Now, it looks like these two tiles might touch too, actually. So we might do that.
Anlaşıldı. Anlaşıldı. Buradan gidiyoruz. Anlaşıldı. İntikal vakti. Buradan gidiyoruz. Buradan gidiyoruz.
Natty focus. Let's like this might be nice to get to. Let's start doing this stuff. Muscat capitulates.
Tamamdır.
That next upgrade there. Can we give these guys engineering companies? Yes, we can. Let's go ahead and do that. So I suppose building that port was unnecessary, wasn't it? Oh well. I thought maybe I wouldn't have to guard this tile if I had a port, but at least that way that'll help us not get cut off as easily. Idris returns to the throne. Exalted Prince of the Sanusi Order, Idris I has returned from his self-imposed exile to Cairo. His nephew Zubair bin Ahmed as-Sharif has been forced to resign, and all remaining Ottoman observers have been kicked out of Cyrenaica. The new leader has also sat to his capital close to the Egyptian border, a clear sign of his anti-Ottoman ambitions. The city of Diyarbab, which was transferred to Cyrenaica at the end of the war, has now been decreed official capital of Cyrenaica. The spiritual center of the order, which is home to its main educational facilities, is forbidden to all non-Muslims. Lies deep within the desert and will make it especially hard for any Ottoman intervention to occur. Do you want to go to war with them now? It costs us 150 political power, which we can't really afford right now. Committee for Judicial Reform. The civil code we have used since the Tanzimat era of the Misal Code was first codified in 1877. Based on the Islamic Hanafi legal tradition, the code was the first enforcement of a unified law over all Ottoman citizens who previously, according to the millet system, well, I'm going to run out of time here, so I'm just going